Yo no filmé. Él filmó. Que no sé nada más. Me voy a tratar de cambiarle y así de ver a los
Pero...
hay que como un
Entonces, ahorita me acompañas en el evento de los practicantes de clase.
Alan, ¿le sacas copia a los por
Tú también.
Okay, I think we're going to get started. This week we're focusing on basically looking at some of the feedback that I've been providing you in Word Online. And you've been asking questions. We've been talking about different areas of our writing where we can improve. What have we talked about so far about how we can improve our writing? What do you recall from Monday? What were some of the things we discussed on Monday that we were checking in our
reading?
Being reading? Okay, so
no, was the comma answer?
using the comma. I think we had 6 different usages. What are the 6 different ways that we can use a comma? A series. So a serial comma. Complex sentences. Compound sentences. Sentence connectors. Sentence connectors. Well, fanboys is more with like compound sentences, right? Yeah. Appositives, and one more. Which kind of relative clause specifically? But which one? Which one needs commas? The restrictive or non-restrictive clause? Sorry?
I said no.
You forgot. Okay. The non-restrictive relative clause requires commas before and after. All right. So please make sure you're connected to the internet, or make sure you hit your essay, hopefully, so that you can make changes to your essay. Okay. This is not just discussing different grammatical aspects. I'd like for you to take today and make those changes as we discuss them in class.
I have a question.
Yes.
About comma.
Okay.
How can I make the reference about
Okay. I think I uploaded this. All right, I'm going to upload. Okay. And I need everyone to take a look at academic writing. In groups, not. Does everybody know how to access the files in our group? The files? Does everybody know how to access the files in our group in Office 365? No, in groups, in Office groups. If you go to groups, and you click on files.
Good morning, can I come in?
Yes. Today, what I'm going to do, Myra, I'm going to upload a list of different examples of different types of references. Basically, it's like an article, but I'll upload an example so you can use it as an example. All right, and then you let me know if you have any questions. But I'd like for everybody to check later today in groups, in files. Yo sé, mira, yo sé que,
Está lento.
yo sé que hay muchas cosas para recordar con la tecnología, entiendo. Entonces, pero estoy tratando dejando información ahí para apoyarles. Hoy en la tarde voy a subir algunos archivos en APA, aquí en References. There are going to be examples of different types of references for books, articles, theses, doctoral dissertations, just about any type of source that you will probably need. I'm going to upload these here in our group under files, okay? So can everybody access the files in our groups? If you go to our,
Yes.
see? So just one more time here. So if you're under conversations, Jesus, slow.
Está muy lento.
Slow.
Sí.
Pues mire, vámonos a la...
All right, everybody knows how to get here, correct? To our groups. All right, all you have to do is select files. These are files for our group only. So I'm going to upload files today that will help you for your references. Additional. If you have questions about how to write out your references. Okay, but a thesis document is much like an article. Right? We need to write a thesis, like a master thesis. So I'll give you some examples in these files. Okay. We talked about indirect and direct sources. What other questions do you have about APA?
Here. Can you find all over here in the APA? No tengo nada.
Okay, I haven't uploaded those. I will upload those probably by 2 or 3 o'clock today. So if you can check a little bit later this afternoon, please, or tomorrow, they should appear. I still haven't had a chance to do that. No questions about citations or formatting?
I cannot open my document.
Okay, this has happened, I know for some of you, because to format Word, we need to open up the Word document on our computer. There are some limitations to editing our document with Word Online, correct? And this is one of them. So that video that I uploaded last week, how many of you happened to watch the video last week for formatting Word?
It's a video.
Just beginning?
It was so
Yes, I was like,
it's so long, teacher.
how much? Ooh, that is long, isn't it? 10 minutes, long time. Well, it might seem long, but I created the video because you have to go through, step by step, to do a lot of things. There's a lot of little things that you have to do. So please check out the video. If we need to, we can talk about it in class. That's not a problem. But I created the video so in hopes that if you had questions about how to format your Word document, you could use that video. Let's get some popcorn. All right. So what are we talking about? Word, to make sure that you edit your document, you need to open up the document on your own computer. Now, some students have problems uploading or opening up Word on their computer. Here's what I would suggest. 1, check your version of Microsoft Word, and I would suggest that you upgrade if you haven't already to 2013. I would just try that. I don't know if that by itself is the problem. Some students tell me their version of 2010 works just fine. If it works just fine, great. But all of you have a license to use the most recent Microsoft Office suite that includes Word. So take advantage of it if you want. So try that first. Number 2, make sure you're connected to the internet. That's the obvious thing to say, but just make sure. Sometimes it's difficult. It's hard to know if you're connected at the time that you're trying to open up or close the document. So make sure that you have a good connection. Number 3, if you still have problems, you can't open up your document, I would go to Sistemas, I would go to IT, I would go to a building 55, the first level, and just ask them, say, look, I can't open up my document, can you help me? And I bet they can figure it out pretty quickly, okay? To do these changes, you need to do it in Word, not Word Online. Don't even waste your time trying to do things that I talked about in the video online, because there are limitations. You can't do it. You can't do it. All right? So that's what I would do, Belen. Try that. If you still have problems after that, see me, and you can forward something out. Now I will, let's go briefly over. For those of you who watched the video, how many of you still have questions that were not clarified after watching the video? With spacing, with regard to spacing and indentations. How many watched the video and still are not sure? They still have some questions about the spacing? Nobody?
Spacing.
Yeah, I mean, the things that I talked about in the video, some of them include spacing and indentations. No, nobody has questions after watching the video? So the video is that good?
Yeah, so you also said about the margin stuff, like space.
Right, in the margins, I talked about margins. So no, for those of you who watched, no questions. Okay. ¿Qué más?
I have a doubt.
Sorry?
I have a doubt.
Okay.
Can you open the APA notes document?
APA notes, is that a page in window?
Bold.
Both. Okay. And which section?
APA note.
The survival kit?
The one that said notes.
Okay. Where the end?
Well, at the end of that page, I have a doubt with what you say of the first page.
Oh, the first page.
With what you say about paraphrasing and the number of page. It's at the end of that. Más abajo. Ahí. Y abajo más.
No page.
Which, I'm sorry, what was your question? Paraphrase?
The third point.
Okay, paraphrase. This was done, first of all, a long time ago. Second of all, I sent everyone a comment from the APA manual, where it says that they suggest that you use a page number or a page or a paragraph reference, which makes it sound like it's not a requirement. Okay, so I would. The last time we spoke, I think that I said, yes, let's use it. I suggest that you use paragraph or page number for all types of citations because they suggest it, but it's not really required. Okay, so, I mean, if you do it either way, I'll accept it either way, but I suggest that you to remember to do it for each type of reference. But either way is fine. If you want to include it or you don't want to include it for a paraphrase. But again, the reason to use it is to help the reader find where you found it. So when you're paraphrasing, I think it's useful to use that reference in your paraphrase.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Anything else? No questions about APAs? Clear as I say, plastic? Bless you.
Thank you.
I don't know how to change this. I didn't indentation. All right. Indentation. So let's look at an example. Let me open up our a Word document.
Are you recording?
Yes.
Yes.
So let's say we have a document here, but we can't see you. We can hear you, but they can't see you.
Oh, they can see you, but they can see you.
They can't see me either. All they see is what I'm typing.
Oh, okay.
If you want, I'll turn the camera on so that you can. So, as you notice, I have a good paragraph here. It's coherent, it's cohesive.
Oh, yes.
Follows unity.
Can I use that?
You can, as long as you quote, as long as you cite where you found it. Okay, so I have my quality text here.
Which is Jewish or what language is that?
It's English. You don't recognize it? Yep. All right, so here's my second paragraph. All right, now the question is, how do I indent? How do I create indentations? Now notice, I'm in Microsoft Word on my computer. I'm not in Microsoft Word online. Okay, so when you see to make these changes, please make sure that you are using your Word document, not Word online. All right, so to indent, all right, the first thing we'll need to probably, let's see, no, this is fine. This is in inches, right? So you might have a document at the beginning that's in centimeters. So just very quickly, you can go to Archive, Opciones, Avanzadas, hasta abajo, pulgadas. Make sure you change this from centimeters to inches. That's first. First things first. So just make sure you're in inches. If your toolbar does not appear, sometimes it doesn't appear at the very beginning, hit Vista Regla. Make sure that's selected. Okay. Then, once you do that, you've selected all your text, you select all of it, and you go to your slider bar here at the top, and you select this over and move it over half an inch. Take a look at the video. Okay? Please take a look at the video. I know maybe it's a little long.
I saw that.
All right, but try, the video, I try to take you step by step. Now, some students say, well, you're using a Mac, it's confusing. Okay, maybe it might be confusing. But try to find these like options where you change from centimeters to inches. If you have questions, ask, obviously. But try to use the video. And these changes, you only have to do one time. And they're relatively painless, so they're quick. You do it one time and you're done. You don't have to mess with it again. Now in the video, I also talked about spacing also, correct?
Yes.
And just to go very quickly, Inicio, you click here. Now, there's like 4 things we have to do. 4 things we have to change to fix the spacing. The first thing is to hit double space. The next thing is to select Opciones. There's 4 things we need to check. What are those 4 things? The spacing before the paragraph, the spacing after the paragraph. Make sure that this is selected as double. So here I'm going to go ahead and reduce this to 0. Not automatic, but 0. Okay, now I'm going to change this from multiple because actually I've selected text with multiple spacing. Make sure that's double. That's 3 things. And the 4th, make sure no agregar espacio entre párrafos. Make sure you have that selected. Those are the 4 things. Now when I do that, keep your eyes right here, this part right here. If I hit accept, notice how that brought it in together. Now it still looks like there's more space. Well, that's because actually I have some space there. Hit return. That's what it should look like. See? Notice, there's equal spacing between each paragraph. This space here is the same as this space, is the same as this space, is the same as this space. When you have your title up here, it should also be the same amount of space between your title and your first paragraph. So double check there. See? 4 things you have to check just to make this look like this. If any of those things are not what I just explained, then something's wrong, it won't work. Spacing, indentation.
Are we gonna change it online? No.
Sorry?
You cannot change it online?
No, you can't change it online. I mean, you can do some things online, but you can't. Here's the thing. I want all of you to know how to use these slider bars because it's much easier and it's more precise. So the only way to do that is to open up a Word document because the Word Online version does not give you this toolbar. There's no way you can access this toolbar. So there's no way that you can use these slider bars. I want you to know how to use these slider bars. Okay, these are one of the few things that you have to do in Word. Most of the other stuff you can change in online, Word Online. But there's a few things, and these are those few things. Okay? It's just a lot easier to, I think you can double space in Word Online, but it's just the indentations, okay? The references are the exact opposite. The indentations are the opposite. Do we need to go over spacing for references?
Yes.
Okay. Monse, can I open up your document? Let me tell you, Monse has been making some wonderful progress, and others too. I just happened to mention Monse because she just sent me an email saying, and I was looking at it today, but Monse has been making some really good progress with her essay. Let's take a look at Monse's.
Once you know what plagiarism is? I do.
Okay, I don't think it's going to let me open it up in Word. Because I think the version I have here is... that's okay. We'll just look at our document here. Okay, in the video, what I'm going to explain now, I also included or mentioned in the video from last week. But check your references. So make sure that your references first are single space within each reference, double space between. Single space within, double space between. Now, you're going to have to select all of your text and go back to what I just explained and check those 4 things and do the exact same thing except for what? Instead of double space, single space. But make sure you have no spaces before or after paragraphs. Even though this is not technically a paragraph, you have to put 0 spacing before and after. And click that little box that says, no agregar espacio entre espadas. You have to check all those things. Make sure everything's single spaced. Now this is going to bring the second reference up here. So you're going to have to put your cursor right here and with your finger, hit enter to create a double space. But that's easier to do. So single space everything, but make sure you double space between each reference. The indentations, do the same thing. Select all the references. And remember the slider bars that we saw at the top in our Word document?
She has an extra space before references title. Is that fine? All right.
I'm sorry?
She has double space between the title references and the actual references.
Correct. We need 1 double space, but the same, no additional space. That's the problem, right? So double space between references, the title, and the first reference, but make sure there's no space between before and after paragraphs, and click the little box that says, no agregar espacio.
How do you say that?
Don't add space between paragraphs. Something like that.
But it feels like
I don't know word for word exactly how they put it. Okay, so just make sure in your references that you do the exact opposite. So like if I select this, my references. I'm gonna go back up here. I'm gonna move this bad boy over here. And I'll move this one over here. And that's what it looks like. If you use the slider bars, it's easy. Don't use spaces. Now, sometimes this is what happens. If we do this, before, maybe we had extra spaces. So sometimes it looks kind of funky. There's like weird spacing and all of that. It's easy to fix. Just remove the extra spaces. Just make sure you have one space between words. If you do that, you'll be fine.
And I can let them know how to. If you're clicking that icon, you can see the spaces that are extra. If you click it that way, you can actually see the icons where you have probably more space.
Yeah, I don't know if though you'll be able to see the extra spaces here. Like for example.
Yeah, but with a different icon. Look, put space in there. Like
Okay, so it's a different icon? Okay, so it has this?
Like this?
Yeah, so if this helps, this will indicate that you have extra spacing, but you'll see it. You'll see it because you're technically.
Like this?
Yes, that's fine. Spacing. Okay. Any questions about spacing, references? Make those changes. If you're connected, go to your document, make those changes.
Ay, lo copié y lo pegué.
Any other questions about? Yeah. Yes. Excuse me, if anybody needs to look at your paragraphs, send an email. Please don't send any more emails after Thursday. So Thursday will be the last day that I will accept any emails to review your text, because Fridays are our deadline, right? And we get into Friday and there's not much time to respond, and then you change. So Thursday will be the last day to send requests to look at your concept paper.
In the reference is double space also, and here,
Between each reference?
yes, double space. Okay.
Double check all of your references. Make sure that you have at least 3 what?
Primary research.
Make sure that you have at least 3 primary research articles. You can have books, you can have websites, you can have articles that are not primary research articles. As long as you have at least 3 primary research articles. That is, they are research. It has a method section, has a results section. They actually conducted research that is relevant to your essay. Questions? It's slow, right? More question, about any type of question about, we've got all kinds of things we can talk about. No types of errors that I mentioned that you're not sure how to fix.
Teacher, the citation on the introduction.
Yes?
To explain the evidence of what.
Dice.
Well, what are you talking about in your introduction? In the introduction should include 3 things. Should include a hook at the beginning, a thesis statement at the end, and then what's in the middle. What do we include in the introduction between the hook and the thesis statement?
This statement can go at the end of the.
It's not, no, it's not that it can. It should. It has to.
At the end of the paragraph.
All right. Repaso. So the introduction paragraph begins with a what? Hook. And we have three types of hooks. Questions.
Quote.
A famous quote. Or the third one, a fact or statistic that also includes a citation. But something important, something like one of those three. Okay? One sentence or question. After the hook, we should, what comes afterwards? Juvia, what do you think? ¿Qué opinas? Después del hook, ¿qué sigue?
Background.
The background information. Or you describe the problem, right? Or any type of contextual information that you need to know to understand what you're going to talk about later.
To make a transition.
Okay, it's context. Think of it like background. Like your thesis statement is the last sentence of your introduction. Okay, the thesis statement is the main idea, right, of your whole essay. All of you are making a choice between one or two types of thesis statements. You're either going to write a thesis statement about the problem or the solutions. You have to make a decision. That's going to dictate how you're going to design the rest of your essay. Are you going to talk about the problem, the reasons why this is a problem only, or are you going to talk about the results? You're not going to talk about both for this assignment. You have to choose. Now, the thesis statement is the main idea. So the background information, ask yourself, what information does the reader need to know to have some sort of background information about your thesis statement? That's where you have citations to come in. Bring in at least one citation there in the middle of your paragraph to support this background information. Maybe it's some sort of historical account. So it just totally depends on the thesis statement.
Or at the beginning of the class, if I use, an example, numbers or statistics, and I hold the statistic in order to give just an idea at the beginning.
At the beginning?
Yes.
Okay, I want to make this very clear One type of hook is an important fact or statistic, right? Yes? Okay. So after the hook, that is the second sentence, third sentence, or the fourth sentence, where you're talking about the background information, you need another citation. If you chose a hook that includes a citation, that's a fact, you need another one. The hook is just something like, wow, you know, I didn't know that, I want to read more. Okay? So that's not the one citation. When I leave a post saying, please add a citation to your introduction paragraph, I don't mean the hook. I'm not talking about the hook. I'm talking about within the body, the background information in your introduction.
But most we have a citation.
Yes,
I would like for you, yes, to have a citation.
but you're saying that it can also be a citation.
Okay, we're confusing things here. Estamos un poco confundidos. Voy a tratar de explicar otra vez. All right? The hook, we have three options, ¿verdad?
Yes.
All right. Let's say, an example, that in the hook I use a statistic.
So you have to say it.
I have to cite it, yes. And I need something in my references. Bien. Second sentence. Now, what do I do? What am I writing now in the second sentence? Sorry? The background information, the context, whatever information, los antecedentes, whatever you want to call it, that needs to be in that introduction to start the reader to think, okay, we're talking about something that's going to relate to a thesis statement. So in the background part of the introduction paragraph, not the hook, I would like all of you to include at least one citation.
Okay.
See? It's not the hook. The hook doesn't count as the citation that I'm referring to. Okay, so a lot of your paragraphs I asked, please include another citation, right? So that you have a little bit more support. That's the point, right? We include citations to provide support to what we say. Yes, it could be an opinion, but maybe it's rooted in fact, okay? But try to include at least one citation in the introduction paragraph. And I'm not referring to the hook, because you can make a choice. The hook could be a citation, or it could be famous quote, or it could be a question. Okay, are we okay? Is that better now? What else? Any other questions?
Teacher, for example, I got a thesis from ProQuest, but it doesn't allow me to have the permanent link.
Okay. I'd like to have everyone's attention. I'd like to address now the links. So please check in your references right now. Check your links. What we need to include in our links is what's called a permalink, or enlace permanente. We need a link that takes the reader directly to our article. Now, sometimes these articles, because we found them in a database, for example, here at the university, the reader needs to be able to sign in to the database or in the university to be able to see it. But we don't want that. So we need to find a permalink. So let's say that we found an article and we are trying to locate the permalink. Now in the video, I think I described generally how you do that in EBSCOhost.
Can you try it in ProQuest?
But every database is different. So maybe in ProQuest it's not possible. We'll check there. There's two things. So let's look at ProQuest. Let's go into our digital library in the university. And let's take a look at an example. Which one was it, Magda?
In ProQuest?
All right, so we're going to go to ProQuest. Sign in. All right, so we're going to search an article. And just type in whatever sample. Does it give us any other options? Well, here we can choose, I guess, our language. Let's just see what happens. Okay, so let's say that we have an article. Now we need to try to find the permalink. Now it's different for each database. But probably, you tried this one, right? Use this link. Most of the time, this link will not work.
No, because you need access passwords.
Exactly. So we need to try to find a permalink. If you can't find the permalink here, sometimes, let's see, texto. Okay, let's say that we can't find it. Looks like I don't see a quick way to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the title of the article. I'm going to go to Google Scholar. And when I go to Google Scholar, I'm going to paste the title of my article and see if I can find it. Is this that looks like it's it. I click here. And here's my permalink. Everybody see that?
Sure. Even though the reader cannot to look to the whole research, just the abstract exactly.
Yes. It doesn't matter that one, you don't have access to the whole article, the reader, and two, it doesn't matter that you didn't technically get it from this space, that you actually got it from another database. It's the same article. Just make sure that it's the same article. It's okay that only the abstract is available. That's fine, but everybody, the whole world will be able to see where you got it. They can decide if they want to pay for this article to see it. See that? So double check in the database first. If you can't find the permalink, do a Google Scholar search and copy and paste this address to your references. How's that?
Okay, it has to be exactly Google Scholar or you just Google.
Well, it doesn't have to be Google Scholar. If you find it in Google, that's fine. Yeah, I'm used to using Google Scholar, but yeah, it can be any, as long as it's exactly the same article. Any other questions about citations?
Thank you.
Make sure you have citations retrieved from, and the link, sorry, retrieved from for all sources that you found online. If you found a book online, if you found an article online, you need to include retrieve from and the link.
Pero no sería concepto. Entonces, vamos a las secciones.
Cuestiones. I'm also going, well, this is a dissertation. If you have a dissertation, I'm going to include some examples of how to upload dissertations later today. Questions? Other questions? Check your verbs. Check your verbs, and when you feel like maybe you're using the same verb over and over and over, do Control F, or find, type in the word, and Word will show you exactly how many times you use that word.
Where?
And
Then how? Control B.
well, Control, what is it? If it's in Spanish, Control B maybe, or Control F?
Control search, Control S in English.
No, it's Control F in English.
Oh, but
find.
find.
Yeah. So for example, if I want like Control F,
Yeah, sorry.
yeah, that's okay. So, but like if you want to search, should I do it here? Oops. I think it's Control B, no? In Spanish? Sí.
Es lo mismo. Yo siempre en Spanish en inglés.
No, creo que es diferente, ¿no?
Sí, es
Mira, es diferente. Si está instalado en español es Control B, como buscar, búsqueda, buscar. En inglés, si está instalado tu word en inglés, es Control F, como find, like to find something. So anyway, whatever. Type in the word, and it will select. It'll show you right here. It'll say how many times you're using the word. So double check your verbs.
Where? Control F.
Control F in English or Control B in Spanish. Yeah. And check your verbs. Make sure, count how many times you say have or has. Count how many times you use the verb to be, like is, are, was, were. Those are the two verbs that I see most often. And some of you I ask, try to use less the verb to be and to have. And some of you I say, well, you're using some words over and over. Try to use different verbs. Double check your verbs. Yes.
I have comments on my topic sentences of each paragraph, but I don't understand how to change it.
Okay, can I look at it here? All right, so Fernanda, Patty, sorry. Patty, all right, let's take a look at Patty. If I make any comments to your topic sentences, I want you to also look at your thesis statement. Right? So,
This is the first one, from the first paragraph. Do I have to change the order of the sentence?
They have like
okay. This is why we have to be careful with the verb to be in the topic sentence, because it almost sounds like a definition, or it sounds like a characteristic. It almost sounds like what, an evidence sentence. So the easiest way to fix that is just to try to use a different verb. A descriptive verb, an action verb, a dynamic verb that is your opinion. Here, if you say, all right, so situated learning in class, I want you to say something about this. To be able to create a situated learning class, say something, an opinion about that, that's not, the first aspect, when you say the first aspect, it's almost like a detail. It's almost like evidence. So maybe what you say here is part of your evidence and analysis later on. But take a look at your entire paragraph. Let's read it. Let's see it here. So there. Let's go down a little bit more. They're designed to illustrate, give participants experiences with social phenomena. Social phenomena. This is the opportunity for teacher has to show students what they can do with the language, what they need to be carefully designed. They are also called dramatizations, role plays, the learning process, simulations. All right. So situated learning through the use of simulations. Now say something about that. Allows students to socially interact. Okay, see what I mean? And all of you, whenever you're looking at your topic sentence and you know you have to change your topic sentence, look at your paragraph and work backwards. Just read it again and say, okay, what's the main idea? And then work backwards and say, okay, how can I change this to align with my thesis statement, but create a general idea? And it could be just as simple as that, just it's a social interaction, something about social phenomenon or dynamic, some sort of social dynamic.
Thank you.
All right.
Teacher,
Yes.
if I couldn't find the whole document in Google, can I use only the abstract?
For what?
For the link.
For the link, yes, but not for your research, not for like
Oh, no,
reading.
yes, I have the whole document, but
Yes,
I don't
that's
want
fine.
Yes, so if it is a chapter of an online book, and in the reference it says, the name,
I'll include an example, if you want to check later today in your files, under groups, I'll include, you'll find an example. It says like, in but I'll explain, I'll upload the example later today, so double check that file. No questions about comma splices, run-on sentences? brain exam.
Teacher Ben,
Yes?
declarative and precision memory.
I think they use it interchangeably, yes. And working memory, too, that's the you talk about working memory, short-term, long-term.
No.
That's about it. And your literature review is on the athletics.
Yes.
¿Cómo se quiere? No, está relacionado. ¿Recuerdas de ACT? ¿Viste algo de Anderson's ACT model?
Vale la pena. ¿Cómo digo?
No te mandé un...
No, de verdad. Oh, yeah, sí, cierto, ya me acordé.
Did you guys talk about Anderson's ACT model and like what class was it? Social linguistics maybe or applied linguistics? No. So Anderson ACT model, double check that. Declarative procedural knowledge, but also working memory, long-term memory. And they have like tables. And that's where
Yeah, I saw that on Wikipedia.
Yeah. So take a look at that.
Usted te dijo para ponerlo dentro de o al final de sugerencia. Es que no puedo.
Well, if you don't have it in your concept paper, make sure that you include something about this in your literature review.
¿Dónde tiene, en qué parte vamos a poner el literature?
Come on.
¿Qué es el literature?
Well, the lit review is the producto final en unidad 4. Es un literature review.
Es un documento.
Es un documento solo de 2.500 palabras, chiquito. Tiene los 4 productos en esta clase. Concept paper, unit 1. Article review, unit 2. Annotated bibliography, 3. And literature review, unit 4. We have 8 weeks to complete the literature review. That's the mother load.
Is this right?
Y todo lleva
This is
completo.
the concept paper.
Pero todo va junto para juntar las dos.
Todo está relacionado o links, ¿verdad? Entonces, en tu caso, vas a dar todo, pensar todo en ese semestre. En eso. So it's this, the Anderson ACT model. When you start with the annotated bibliography, looking for your 10 references. 10 references. Okay. No, después, ya. Dame 3. ¿No?
You see why we did with never mind.
Any other questions? Over it is. Okay, ask about speak today.
You asked me to. You asked me to, because I use L1, so you guys so should I use model tongue and then L1 or just L1?
Okay, so mother tongue, you can just say mother tongue and then in parentheses L1. It's not even necessary to say henceforth. Just in parentheses L1 and then you can use L1 afterwards. So I would take out language here, just mother tongue. Yeah.
So I take out transport.
Yeah, I would. It's not necessary. It's not wrong, but it's not necessary. Okay. Observation, double check. How many of you are using abbreviations? Abbreviations. And more people are gonna use abbreviations. That's it, abbreviations.
There's EFL.
It can be EFL, whatever, L1, it can be whatever. All right, please double check right now in your document. The very first time that you mention that term, you're gonna spell it out. And then right afterwards in parentheses, you're gonna abbreviate, and then thereafter, abbreviation, 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 abbreviation.
So we mentioned it first, you mentioned it, and then we put in parentheses the abbreviation.
Correct, correct. So please double check your document, make sure you spell it out. If you're saying L1, say mother tongue, for example. Mother tongue, parentheses, L1. And then afterwards, L1, 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 L1. ELT, if you use ELT, English language teaching, spell it out. Now don't capitalize language and don't capitalize teaching, just capitalize English. So English, minuscule, language, minuscule, teaching, minuscule, parentheses, ELT. Because it's not a proper noun, right? Even though it's an important noun, it's not a proper noun. I know, Diana. Diana's like,
Sí, yo es que.
Para recordar. I'm going to point
Ay, no, yo no sé
page
qué
in
es.
Is that what it should be?
okay, I'm sorry.
The space between each paragraph.
That looks fine.
So it goes as well for
Es
the,
igual, así es.
and as well the reference.
Yes, that looks
What did you here? You asked me kind of look for a citation, but this is kind of my own information as I am a native speaker of Spanish.
Yeah. Can you find it? Because, you know, unless you did your own study, right?
But I know my sounds.
Yeah. Just find a, try to find it. Try to find it. And then maybe they say the exact same thing, right? But it sounds better coming from someone else.
What do you mean?
Y eso no es
I am
importante.
Huh? Perhaps, but what we want to see is your thinking as you build your logic. That's where you can shine, showing off your logic, your experiences.
Okay, teacher. With the phrasal verb,
Phrasal verbs are idiomatic. So deal with, throw up. Phrasal verbs. So phrasal verbs are typically two words, not always typically, so they have a verb and then usually a preposition. So this is a phrasal verb. So deal with it, like you said, deal with it. It's not the same as saying you could say, like, accept it. Accept it. I mean, depends on what you want to say. But that's why it's not really clear. It's like,
so if I say handle,
adapt, accept. I would just. Because even handle, it's like handle it. It didn't matter. They can accept it, they can adapt to it, they can adopt it, they can. But then I'm respectful more like a synonym, but that's not idiomatic. Be careful with phrasal verbs, be careful with idiomatic expressions. We want to try to avoid idiomatic expressions. We want to try, for the most part, to avoid phrasal verbs because phrasal verbs are idiomatic. We want to be more literal. Find a synonym. Find a synonym. What's the actual meaning of that idiomatic expression that you can use?
Lo encontraste con todo lo que yo había practicado al principio.
Ay, qué rico.
Well, you want to just put your cursor before his last name. Backside, so
Voy a buscar un examen otra vez. Es que no puedo dar clase porque les hicieron un examen a los pequeños.
put your cursor before the last name.
La que me dice, ya sé.
Tienes que hacer una y puedes hacer la misma en todo lo demás. Asegurar que ya todo está de acuerdo.
Aunque sea línea, yo solo el artículo.
Exactly. So maybe say the same thing. Try to use that as the topic and then you can top your thing. You're set. Exactly. And try not to use the verb to be.
Pero no
No puedo saber. University of Essex.
Double check your thesis statements. Double check your thesis statement, the 3 points that you're going to talk about. Make sure that each point is the subject of your topic sentence. For example, in this example, students memorize dialogues. Students memorize dialogues is going to be the subject of, or should be the subject of the sentence in the first topic sentence. The subject at the very beginning. The next one, do not practice what they know. Students don't practice what they know. That's the subject of the sentence, the topic sentence for the second body paragraph. And diminish oral communication of students. Así tal cual, bien, también sujeto del tercer topic sentence. Okay, so make sure that these 3 points you repeat, direct repetition, and at the subject at the very beginning, not later on in the sentence. So double check your essay for that.
Pero aquí sí,
Desprecio.
sí, ¿verdad?
Teacher, the introductory part, the citation, it should be a direct quote.
It doesn't have to be. It can be a direct quote or it can be a paraphrase. In fact, I would prefer that it be a paraphrase. But it can be either way. If you guys are direct quoting, make sure that you don't have a direct quote that's really, really long. Like 3 sentences, 2 sentences. Try to eliminate 2.
So ya fue
If it's a direct quote. Usually, if that happens, I usually select and say, please paraphrase. If you have in your essay no direct quotes, that would be just great. It's all paraphrase.
I have problems to understand what you you say that I need to
English. Yeah, where is it?
like prior paragraph.
Like character, alright, what did I just say? Alright.
I was trying to find the process
Okay, so the use of group work in class benefits students to recycle. So here, what I'm referring to here, I don't see any examples of, first, the what. Like, what would be an example of students working together to recycle? Like, sorry? It could be an activity, like do they work in pairs? Is it pair assessment? How do they work? Is it in groups, small groups? Whatever the experts might say. If you have something here, because most of what you're talking about here is just the rationale, like why it's important, which is fine. You can talk about the why, but at some point you need to talk about the what is it first, like an example of what.
provide examples and then marry some.
Yeah, in this case, describe what. Yeah, think of an example of working together in groups to recycle vocabulary, or even if you just talk about an example of recycling. What would be an example? Because I don't think you talk about any examples of just one example of recycling. And I think we need some examples. Now, you can say, express some examples of recycling that have to deal with group work. Or maybe it's examples of recycling with regard to another paragraph. But some more examples of like, what is it? If you're, what is it? It's like, how do you recycle? Not so much just why it's important. We don't want to just say, oh, it's all important because this reason, this reason, this reason, this reason. Well, what is it? Or how do you implement it? Okay. The question words to help guide you is, okay, I talked about the why, I still need to talk about the what, or the how, or the when, or the yeah. Very good.
Teacher, la profesión para search es search about. I put research on this problem.
Okay, I want to search this problem.
Without
I want to search this problem. Yeah, because actually the word buscar is to search for something. But in English we just say search. Yeah. So it's a little bit. Como,
Bien, tranquilo.
estoy así súper tranquilo.
Yo también estoy tranquilo.
Puedo.
Ahorita no, pero tranquilo.
Yeah.
If I had a comment about your subject, it is said that we have to stay in the I wish that was not
Teacher, to check if the document is in inches. What is the procedure?
Go to Word,
Okay.
archivo, opciones, avanzadas, mostrar hasta abajo.
Thank you.
Ya todos están inscritos sin ningún problema. Hay alguien que todavía no se ha inscrito aquí a la carrera. Cuando los que tienen problema de reinscripción, la reinscripción extemporánea va a ser el 17 y 18 de septiembre con su respectiva sanción económica. ¿Cuánto? No sé, perdón.
¿Cómo se hace la reinscripción? Nada más pagando lo que es el mes y ya con eso.
Para que si saben de alguien que pase la voz.
Gracias.
Sí, gracias. Thank you.
Okay. Sí.
Teacher, is there space between the reference, child, and the
Just make sure it's double spaced. Make sure that you go through those 4 steps that we talked about today to make sure there's no space before or after the paragraph. Make sure that it says, well, single space, and make sure that the box is checked, no additional space after the paragraph. And then just make sure you have 2 spaces, 2 single spaces. When you guys finish your final draft, the rubric scores can change, right? So I'm going to recess again. If you make changes, the rubric scores can improve. If you don't make any changes, if you guys don't make any changes to your document, the rubric scores will remain the same. If you don't make any changes, or if you don't make changes that really improve, your rubric scores can change. Now, if you show me, ask me, send me an email, take a look at it again, you should know from the feedback that I give you how you're doing. Okay? And if you're not sure, you certainly ask. But I want you to pay close attention to the rubric scores with regard to your grade, because I'm converting the rubric score to your grade. So all of you are in this space here, okay, last week. With the changes, the idea is to increase that. But if you don't make any changes, okay, or if the changes don't improve, which I think is unlikely, but possible, the rubric scores will remain the same and your grade will reflect those those schools.
Si
Just
quieres
wanted to make
usarla
that clear.
aquí en documentos, no se las guardas aquí y ya como se puede cierra los ojos y vuelves
Or right. Okay, yeah.
que alcanza
Oye, si tengo malos, porque quiero seguir.
que tienes tu poquito y tienes que pasar
Es que no puedo sacar
pues sí, en la parte.
Que necesitamos palabras para hacer. Y si no tengo palabras, si no encuentro palabras para hacer ¿cuántas palabras? Okay. Instead you ask me to paraphrase it's just that I don't know how to reword that. I mean,
Because here's the thing too, Alex, it's like, I think it's good practice to paraphrase, just as a writer. Yeah, so there's two things. I asked that most of the citations be paraphrased because one, it helps us to paraphrase, which is good. That's just by itself. Second, you will see a noticeable difference in the way you connect your ideas if you paraphrase. It's almost easier sometimes to connect the sentence before with the paraphrase than the sentence before and the direct quote. You can do it, but it's almost harder because the quote has to be just right to flow from one sentence to the next. So it's almost easier in one respect to connect the sentences. Now, it might be harder to initially come up with the idea. So, but yeah, this is the ideas that you only include a direct word, and the words are just like, really unique, powerful.
they are unique.
Try to paraphrase. Try it. Just try it.
They use really terms. I mean, they often use terms that are like really accurate. So
Okay, but we have to be careful with the terms that they use. If they're technical, do you really want to use those terms? Then try it. Try it. If you feel if it's, I mean, I have faith in you, Alex. I think you can do it. I think you can do it. I think you can. You decide. It's not the end of the world if you leave it as a direct quote. It's a suggestion. It's a suggestion. It's a friendly suggestion.
it sounds compulsory.
It's a friendly suggestion.
El cerebro de Alex tiene y esto empezando a fallar.
Sí. Error 404.
Si le ponemos
Check your body paragraphs. Think of the question words. Am I talking about the what? Am I talking about the how? Am I talking about the why? Am I talking about the when? In your evidence sentences. Make sure that it's clear for you and that it's logical, that it makes sense, that it, is what you want to say. Don't talk about the why without talking about the what. If you just talk about the why, without the what, we're going to be like, okay, but what is the thing that we're talking about? So sometimes we need examples of the what, then say, or the how, and then the why. Or maybe the why, then the how, but it's clear what the what is and what the how is.
Primero es esto, luego Springer y luego es
Please check your documents. Please make sure that the essay, the title of your essay, and the essay itself are the Please check your documents. Please make sure that the essay is at the very top. If you have the thesis statement, the problem, the topic sentences, and all of that, that's fine if you want to leave it, but move it to the bottom. Please keep the most recent information at the very top of your document, so that that's where I'll start. I'm just looking at the essay, right, for this final draft. Okay, and if you want to include, keep the thesis, that's fine, but just keep it at the bottom. Okay, Julia?
Yes.
Make sure you have a title. 6 to 12 words.
Ah, ¿por qué se abrió el mío?
¿Puedes moverlo, por favor?
¿A dónde? ¿Hasta abajo?
Sí.
Ah, ok.
Ya va.
Porque lo tienes más de eso.
Por favor, mueve toda la información anterior hasta abajo. El ensayo, 5 párrafos, hasta arriba. Yes.
I put it opening report and verbatim. It's because I
Is there actually edit that?
then when I put it
Segundo, deberíamos de poner una clase de aeróbics, muchachos, para relajarnos tantito, para desestresarnos, porque me canso. ¿No sería buena idea, Fermín? Sí, ya ven, hasta Fermín dice que sí.
it's funny as hell.
Nomás te da rabia. Que él se quiere ejecutar de su cuerpo y de su libertad.
Nadie está robando fuentes, hay que
No, es que la cuenta de mi hermano, que por eso tengo el pero no.
Es
Fanny.
No. Es que dice Fanny que es la cuenta de su hermana, pero de Word, y que ella sí puede editarlo con esa cuenta.
Maybe sign out, maybe sign out everything, maybe close your computer, throw it away. don't throw it away. Just maybe sign out, and log back in, and see what happens. See if
Okay.
maybe and if not, clear. Mayra, ¿sabes cómo limpiar la cache? Así la memoria en el browser. ¿Sí sabes cómo es? Porque tal vez también puede ser.
Para los puntos.
So there should be a way to like clean like the history of the browser. You might have to do that maybe. So let's see where that is.
Is it in
¿Alguien sabe cómo limpiar la historia aquí?
Pues se tiene que...
Hay que borrar la historia reciente. Ok, y tienes varias opciones, ¿no? Tal vez tienes que limpiar estos detalles, bueno, de las historias. Y maybe you don't have to eliminate everything, just select cache, este. Es lo único lo que tienes que hacer. Puedes just keep, seleccionar estos.
Historial de...
No, nada más ponen porque supongo que no quieres eliminar ¿no? De la historia del browser. Nada más de cache, así, y aceptar. Pero también log out and log back in, close your browser, see what happens. ¿Sí? If anybody wants me to look at your document right now, let me know. If you want me to look at it later, send me an email.
So I'm making the changes.
Okay. Yeah, do your best with the device. If you can, yeah, just do your best with the device. Otherwise, with the notebook, whatever.
Is it more slower?
Is it?
Coherence is an adjective or a noun?
Coherence?
Now,
No? And how?
What's the adjective?
coherent.
Coherent?
Coherent.
Coherent?
What's the adverb?
Coherent. Coherently?
Coherent. Okay, I think we'll stop there for today if there are no more questions. We're going to continue this way this week. Thursday will be the last day that you can email me to look at your documents. So, yeah, bring your questions. We can look at it in class. But try to finish up your document so that it can be as good as it can be for Friday. You'll have all day Friday to complete, maybe like last Friday. So.
Pero ya Friday ya nos podemos hacer questions, ¿verdad?
Yeah. No more questions via email, obviously in class, bring your questions. But no more emails, please, because I just want to have time to go through all the emails, make changes.
But I have a personal question for you. Well, not personal, like random question.
Okay, go for it.
La nube, ¿dónde está todo? ¿Dónde está? ¿Dónde lo guardan?
Depende.
Cada vez.
La nube yo la
No tanto que hay
Depende de la tormenta.
Sí, es por ahí. For example, like Google, right? Google has servers all over the world. So it's impossible to say where it is, but it's by company, right? So each company buys a server, right? You know, they buy a hard drive, you know. Tons of hard drives. and they'll have it some, different locations.
There's not only one location.
No.
So what happened if by any chance these collapses? Online collapses? Online somehow.
We're doomed.
Pues mira.
Really? Yeah. And we have to do that again.
We have to
Just imagine this scenario.
Okay.
Thursday night. Thursday night, we're all.
So Nestor is concerned about Microsoft's ability to maintain their servers, and that's a legitimate, right, concern. Could happen. But let's take the two scenarios, okay? And we're gonna pick on Nestor because he's got a good sense of humor. He's a good guy. We could say, scenario number one,
Thursday night.
Microsoft Thursday night goes down the toilet. That's one option. Microsoft goes to down below. Or Thursday night, Nestor and his computer crashes. What's the likelihood? What's the possibility?
My computer, of course.
Okay.
But
So here's my suggestion.
have a backup.
I wouldn't worry. No.
Oh.
I wouldn't worry about Microsoft or Google or Box or Dropbox or whatever cloud services there are. I wouldn't worry so much about the server not working. Of course it could happen, but I wouldn't worry. Because here's the thing, Microsoft, they're pretty good, right? If it happens, the worst thing that's gonna happen is maybe you can't access it for maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes, maybe. Or maybe an hour. That would be like
The most.
extreme. I mean, I've never heard of anything like that happening, but it could. But it's not like when it comes back, your information's gone. That would be like totally, I mean, imagine this, Microsoft and Google and all the other services. All the companies that deal with them, I mean, so they are, I'm just trusting that they have it together.
They have a backup.
So, yeah, they have the backup upon backup upon backup because they have servers all over the world. It's not like if somebody unplugs the United States, oh my God, we're doomed. They would have to virtually unplug every, all these different countries around the world.
I do that, I make a phone call.
So there are other things to worry about next week, right? I don't want you to worry about too many things.
Okay.
So let's check that off your list of things to worry about. And say, I'm gonna put that aside. I'm gonna worry more about finishing our first draft.
Okay.
Let's worry about that. Don't worry about Microsoft. I think we're okay with
I was just thinking about Microsoft so hard.
that. But it's a valid question.
That was my.
It's not just kind of floating around up in the air in a balloon, maybe somebody shoots down the balloon and all your files.
And it was not only this cloud, but also Facebook. Where's Facebook located?
Right.
All the
They have
videos,
They have their servers, they probably have buildings the size of this, that's just servers or whatever, I don't know.
Dubai.
Could be anything. All right. Okay, any other final questions before we conclude for today?
Sure.
Yes.
Can you go to my lesson, please? So in the comments you indicate that was wrong.
What's too long? How many words more or less should we include in our title?
No, the topic.
Bueno, ¿puedo hablar primero del título?
Okay.
¿Cuántas palabras?
Yes, from 6 to.
Okay, the punctuation, do I do this? Capitalization? Do this sobre el título. Lo que tienes que cambiar, no hay.
Or rewrite it in order to.
Pero hay dos cosas más, aparte de esto. Porque puse también CA and WP.
To capitalize important words.
Right? And WP. WP. WP?
No, I don't know.
What's WP mean?
What's double?
Did anybody get WP, like that error code, WP? Nobody. Nobody get WP. Y'all didn't do wrong punctuation. Wrong punctuation. Wrong punctuation could mean you use the wrong punctuation, you're using it when you don't need it, or you should use it when you're not using it. So do we need a period after the title?
At the end of the, okay.
Okay. All right, now your question was?
Okay, you said that my topic was already.
Too broad?
Yes.
Watching cartoons develop literacy skills and students due to language transition. Was it about your thesis statement or? ¿Dónde dejó el comentario fue?
Are you considering that?
Are you considering this is the? Are you considering this as a central focus for next semester? Remember that the purpose of doing a concept paper is to visual. Okay. Although this is a requirement, this is. Alright, lo que estoy diciendo aquí es no tanto si es demasiado general, si es práctico. Es decir, esta idea puedes también tal vez en el futuro, el próximo semestre, hacer un estudio sobre esto, es lo que yo estoy pensando. Es lo que quiero que también estás enfocando. Para que tratar a tener un tema todo este semestre, algo relacionado a lo que puedes hacer el próximo semestre. Ahora, hay algunas cosas que estás diciendo aquí en esta clase que yo pienso que sería muy difícil o imposible hacer el próximo semestre. Por ejemplo, language transitions from classroom to real life situations. Estoy pensando como un estudio que involucra que sí, sería difícil, pienso yo. It provides accurate simulation of English sounds. Maybe it contributes to acquiring new vocabulary. Este es un poco general. Bueno, no sé, o no, if you want to say recycle vocabulary in class, okay, es más específico. Pero así como vienen, eso sí, este es un poco general. Para mí, la primera no es así muy práctico, igual pensando en un estudio. Bueno, puedes hablar de esto. Pero sí, porque también vamos a desarrollar esta idea en el Lit Review, 2.500 palabras, hablar de todo esto. Y como que aquí un poco más específico, aquí pensar en, no sé, en algo que puedes enfocar, no sé, en una clase, porque cuando mencionas algo en real life situations or outside, o no sé si tú quieres hablar de authentic material in class, okay. Or authentic talk in class, okay, está bien. Pero así como vienen, pues indica afuera de la clase.
Or I can use it like cartoons as material used in class.
Y ya, pero hay que enfocar en algo de lingüística, like phonetics, phonology, grammar, vocabulary. Discourse between teacher and student. ¿Qué más? Reading, writing, listening, speaking. With cartoons, todo with cartoons, everything with cartoons.
But I was also focusing on listening skills, develop listening skills.
Okay, but listening skills. Okay, but what are you going to observe? ¿Qué vas a observar? A listening skill requiere como maestro, como sabes. Ellos tienen que producir algo, tienen que hablar o tienen que escribir. Porque si no, ¿cómo van a saber si aprendieron o no? Entonces quiero que también estás pensando tal vez en, no sé, la manera que está interactuando también puede ser un enfoque. Individual, pairs, groups, whole group. O qué materiales o tecnologías están utilizando, así como que. Entonces, para extender esta idea, no tanto más general, pero hablar de cartoons, listening comprehension, en una o dos cosas. Mencionaste algo de vocabulario, tal vez. Entonces, tenemos que encontrar algo que no es demasiado, pero un poco más lo que tienes ahí. Puede ser nada más en vocabulario, pero pensar en 3 puntos de cartoons, listening y vocabulary. Ok, pero 3 puntos, algo sobre que está relacionado a estos 3 puntos. And it's all about your reading. Hay que leer mucho y ver cómo lo hicieron otras personas.
So I
Para
found
sacar ideas.
good information about cartoons.
Okay. Tal vez puedes pensar así, antes, durante y después de listening. Y puedes dividir las 3 partes, antes, durante y después. Vocabulary, listening, pero dividirlo entre así del tiempo, como técnicas o estrategias para los alumnos, así de esta forma. ¿Sí? Y eso sería muy bueno, sería más enfocado, más específico, y tú desarrollar más las ideas de antes, durante y después. Eso es un ejemplo. Entonces, eso es lo que, claro, puedes hablar de pero si hacer algunos cambios, ahorita estamos en un periodo así importante, no tanto para esta clase, pero también para el próximo semestre. Las decisiones que están tomando aquí van a influir mucho después. Claro, si ustedes deciden después de este semestre, yo quiero cambiar todo mi tema, no me interesa en después todo esto, adelante, no hay problema. Hay tiempo el próximo semestre, ustedes van a tener un mes para desarrollar un literature review así, tal cual lo que estamos haciendo, bueno, en la cuarta unidad. Pero obviamente, si tienen algo en ese semestre, pues sería más, como yo, para el próximo. Pues quiero que estés enfocando, pensando mucho ahorita, leer mucho ahorita para tomar decisiones, para que esté muy relacionado para, como esta clase después, punto en decisión. Bueno. All right, I think we'll stop there. We'll see everybody, on Friday, right? Friday? Yes? No class tomorrow? Yes. Okay, so Friday we'll see everybody. Send me emails up until Thursday if you want me to look at your paragraph. If anybody's just really confused or needs to one-on-one, come by my office. We can look at something if you're having problems with the technology or the articles or whatever. But try to keep making progress, and we'll try to finish up for Friday. Okay, so we'll stop there. We'll see everybody on Friday. Okay. Diana. Ay, Diana.
Ay, teacher.
Ay, Diana.